Sanmonani Abafundi, welcome back, and we're carrying on with our algebra. We're just getting loads and loads of practice at simplifying algebraic expressions. This stuff really is like so important for the future of your maths, so it's really good that we get lots of practice. Okay, we're hoping that you've tried the examples on page 6. If you haven't tried them, then pause the video and try them before watching us do them. Okay, so this first thing, we've got a product into a sum, and remember we're going to use our distributive law here. Okay, and so let's just write an equal sign because we're not changing the value, and let's multiply this in. 6x times x, 6x squared. 6x times y, 6xy. Negative 2x times 3y, negative 6xy. And negative 2x times negative x, positive 2x squared. Right. Hopefully understanding that we're doing using lots of things that we've learned here. So we learned about integers. Remember, a negative times a negative is a positive. But also we've learned some exponent rules that when we multiply an x by an x, we get an x squared. Right. Now, if we look for like terms, this term over here is like with this term over here. And the other two are in fact also like. Both of them contain xy's. Right, we've got positive 6 of these things called xy's, and we've got negative 6 of them. Right, now what do you think we've got in terms of xy's? We haven't got any. Right, they cancel each other out. We get 0 xy's. That's just 0. But we have got some x squareds. Our final answer, 8x squared. Okay, a common error might be to say 8x to the 4. Remember, when we add things, they don't change. If you add a pencil to another pencil, you've got 2 pencils. You haven't got 2 pencils squared or anything funny like that. When you add x's to x's, you get x's. When you add x squareds to x's, you get x squareds. Sorry, x squareds to x squareds, you get x squareds. When you multiply x squareds by x squareds, you get x to the 4s. Okay, let's have a look at this next one. It involves division. All right, and remember that both parts of the sum must be divided by 2x. So we've got 4x squared, that must be divided by 2x. And we've got 6xy, and that must be divided by 2x. Right, now here, the 4 and the 2 just divide out, and x squared divided by x is just x. So we just get 2x. Here, the 6 and the 2 divide to 3. The x's divide out, okay, and we're just left with y. Can we add those two things? I corner. Okay, doesn't work like that. We can't add unlike terms. There's our final answer. Now this one is interesting because at first glance you might think all these terms are like, but in fact the first one has got a squareds and b's, and the other two have got b squareds and a's, even though the order is different. The order doesn't matter. Remember, we can multiply numbers in any order. 5 times 9, 45. 9 times 5, 45. So this here is unlike. It's just going to stay on its own. 3a squared b. This here, if you want to, you could write it in a different order. In other words, you could leave, we're not going to do anything yet. We're just going to write this as 6ab squared. That's exactly the same thing. We've just changed the order of the multiplication, and this one's 2ab squared. The only reason we've done that is to help you see that in fact these two terms, this one and this one, are like. Now we can add those two. We've got negative 6 of them, and we add on 2, so we end up with negative 4 of them. Final answer, 3a squared b minus 4ab squared. These are unlike, so we can't do anything further with them. Okay, right, the next one's very straightforward. It's just multiplication. All right, you might say, Paul, aren't these unlike terms? There's no such thing as unlike terms with multiplication. This is all one term. It's got 2 factors, all right, but we can just multiply them together. We're going to get 4 times 3 is 12. X squared times another x is x cubed, and we've got a y. And there's our final answer. Okay, if you haven't tried these questions, once again, just a reminder to pause the video and try them yourself. Okay, this one we're dividing 6 over 2, 3. X squared divided by x, just x. Remember, we subtract the exponents. 2 minus 1. y to the 4 divided by y squared, 4 minus 2, y squared. Okay. This one, distributive law. We're going to distribute this 4 into this bracket and this negative 2 into that bracket. We're going to get 4 times x. We're going to get 4 times negative 2. We're going to get negative 2 times x. And we're going to get negative 2 times negative 4. Now, negative 2 times negative 4 is positive 8. All right, if we look at like terms, this term over here and this term over here are like. Final answer for the x's, just 2 x's. This term over here and this term over here are like. They're both constant terms, but in fact they add to 0. All right, so 2x plus 0. Does it make any sense to write the plus 0? No. Let's just leave that out. Just 2x. Okay. Right. Remember, when we square root, okay, square root of 9x squared, what will multiply by itself to give us 9x squared? And the answer is 3x. What will multiply by itself to give us 16x squared? And the answer is 4x. Can we add these two things? Absolutely. They are like. Final answer, 7x. Okay. This one over here, both of these things need to be divided by 2. So we can write this like this. 4x divided by 2 plus 8a divided by 2. 4x divided by 2 is just 2x. And 8a divided by 2 is just 4a. Okay. Right. We're going to, I'm just looking at, we're going to try these questions. If you haven't tried them yet, then have a go at them. Pause the video and have a go. Then we'll go over them and then we'll get on to some substitution. Okay. Anything to the power of 0 is just 1. This one, let's simplify the numerator first. X squared y times x cubed y to the 5 is going to be x to the 5 y to the 6. But now we're going to divide that by xy cubed. And remember that when the bases are the same, we are going to subtract the exponents. X 5 minus 1 and y 6 minus 3 is our final answer. Okay, this one over here, exactly the same idea. We're going to multiply the stuff on the top and then on the bottom, let's see what we're going to get. On the top, we're going to get 4 times 6 is 24. A squared times a cubed, when we multiply with the same basis, we're going to add our exponents. 2 plus 3, 5. B to the 1 times b to the 7, b to the 8. On the denominator, 3 times 2, 6. A to the 1 times a to the 1, a squared. B squared times b to the 4, b to the 6. Now, we're going to divide. 24 divided by 6, those are normal numbers. 24 divided by 6 is 4. When we divide numbers with the same basis, we're going to subtract the exponents. 5 minus 2, 8 minus 6. Okay, this one over here, we've got addition and multiplication. Which one needs to happen first? That's right, the multiplication. So this is going to be 3ab plus, now 2a times 6b, 12ab. Have we got like terms? Impela. Those are like, we can add them. 3 things plus 12 things, 15 things. The things don't change, they are still ab's. They don't become a squared, b squareds. All right. Number 39. Firstly, we've got to do the division. 8ab divided by 2b. 8 divided by 2 is just 4. And b divided by b is just 1. So we're just left with 4a. Are these like? Absolutely. Add them together, 8a. And the last one, remember that we must do the division before the addition. So we're going to leave that 6ab. 10ab squared divided by 2b. 10 divided by 2 is just 5. ab squared divided by b. Right? So think about that. ab squared divided by b. right? Two ways of thinking about it. We could either say, let's expand this to ABB over B and divide the top and the bottom by B and we get AB. Or we could say, the A is just there and let's subtract the exponents. So 2 minus 1, just B. Have we got like terms? Yes, we have. 6 things plus 5 things, 11 things. 11A, B, and there's our final answer. Okay, now the next, we've left some blank space for you to make up some extra examples. They're easy to make up. All right, test them on a friend. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to look at substitution. We're going to evaluate some expressions if we know the values of some variables. So we've got 4 different variables here, x and a and b and y. All right, and it says evaluate. Now evaluate means find the value of x, y. What does x, y mean? X, y means x times y. X is negative 2 and y is 4. What's negative 2 times 4? Negative 8. This is good practice for our integers. B, subtract a. Now b is negative 1. Now we need to subtract. A is 3. Negative 1 subtract 3, negative 4. Okay, let's try x squared y. Remember, x is negative 2. So we want to take negative 2 and we want to square it. And then we want to multiply by y. Right, and remember we must do the exponent first. So negative 2 squared is 4. Negative 2 times negative 2, 4 times 4. Final answer, 16. Okay. We're going to do one more and then we're going to stop and we're going to let you try some for homework. Y minus 2b. Y is 4 minus 2. Now b, remember 2b means 2 times b. And b is in fact negative 1. Okay, now what must we do first here? Must we do the subtraction or the multiplication? That's right, we must do the multiplication. So now we've got 4 and we've got negative 2 times negative 1. Negative 2 times negative 1 is positive 2. Final answer, 6. Okay, so we're going to ask you to try the rest of the questions on this page for homework, and then we will go over them next time. Have a great day, everyone. Salani gahle.